Good morning to you, wherever you may be in the world today. Alan Clements here from Santa Monica, California, United States of America. March 4th, 2021. Ongoing, a daily talk on behalf of the remarkably courageous women and men, girls and boys in the country of Burma, also known as Myanmar, at this very moment, standing tall nonviolently to confront a terrorist organization that I have named MAH-SAC, after the former senior general of the military, Aung Hlaing, MAH, and what he is designated as the State Administrative Council, SAC, MAH-SAC, the latest terrorist organization on our precious planet Earth. I would encourage you to associate MAH-SAC with an identical knowledge that you have of Bin Laden, the Taliban, the Khmer Rouge, Boko Haram in Nigeria, the horrific terrorism, and ISIS. Today, I'd like to share quite spontaneously 10 ideas/actions that I think would be valuable, powerful, efficacious to the defeat of MAH-SAC, the illegal terrorist occupation of the country of Burma at this very moment, in support of their civil disobedience movement, CDM, civil disobedience movement, perhaps, not to compare, the most inspiring non-revolution of human consciousness and heart that we have seen in modern times. Ongoing at this moment, a call to global action by leaders, diplomats, ambassadors, caring people around the world who have a love of democracy, rule of law, justice, unity, harmony, peace, security, a life free of fear and need, an obligation to a 3-page document known as the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, the physical, cognitive blueprint of civilized existence. 10 points. Neither are they to be seen as incremental, one by one, first this and then that, but in some way an action collage, an action mandala intersecting. Any one of them could defeat MAH-SAC. 2 of them could. All 10 together, a most certain victory for freedom and democracy and the people of Burma, if I may. The most immediate, which isn't really one of them, and I've been saying it now for over a month, ever since this revolution of the spirit began on February 1st, 2021, that Aung Hlaing, the terrorist at the top of MAH-SAC, get on national TV, simply apologize, resign, free Aung San Suu Kyi and other elected leaders, everyone who's been detained, disposed, and jailed, return the parliament to its role to govern as a civilian body the people in a way that respects rule of law. And thirdly, to immediately call off your terrorism. Aung Hlaing has refused to do that. Rather, he has increased his use of terror. Now we're seeing jets above the skies of Rangoon and Mandalay. we are seeing ambulance drivers and medics being brutally taken from ambulances, with people dying in those cars, and military and police brutally beating, not once, over and over and over again, the drivers and the medics. Girls and boys are being shot at close range. That's called assassination. All within a few feet, unarmed people being ordered by Myanmar Now and a succession of terrorists all the way to the streets of the country, using assassination, jets, brutality and terrorism, hunting the people of Myanmar. This is an ongoing act of unmitigated terrorism. 10 points that I'd like to share. The first is the former general, Aung Hlaing, undoubtedly mixed in deep with this act of terrorism in Myanmar. He appointed Aung Hlaing. He is in Naypyidaw with him now. Tan Shui, you and your family have one future: to live under house arrest in Naypyidaw for the rest of your life, because you have lost all credibility, all respect, all caring. Your entire humanity has been thrown out based upon this ongoing action. The first action: arrest Aung Hlaing now. Put him under house arrest like you did Aung San Suu Kyi for 15 years. Put Aung Hlaing under house arrest immediately. His wife, his son, and himself. Leave him there for the rest of his life, and send in sayadaws and food, and let him rehabilitate to the extent that he's inclined to study the teachings of Dhamma and the Buddha and Vipassana. Simple action. And call off the Thamada. They will listen to you. Point 1. Point 2. Generals around Aung Hlaing, 10 of you, 12 of you, 20 of you, you can be sure, we can be sure worldwide that you men in uniform, away from the terror on the streets, but directly responsible for giving orders to people that if you do not do as we say, we will do to you what I'm telling you to do to the people. We will assassinate you. We will torture you. We will rape your daughters. That's what these other generals are doing. Well, you have no future. Get on Wikipedia and look in Burmese what happened in the Bosnian conflict with those men in uniform and civilians who thought they could get away with crimes against humanity. They were hunted down and they ended up in the criminal court in The Hague and either committed suicide or were killed, executed, electric chaired, or are languishing at this very moment. They thought they were immune to global persecution. You will never be safe. There are 20 generals, and then there's Aung Hlaing. Get together, 3 or 4 of you, and call it a military coup at the top. Defect. Stop the Angulimala behavior of your military. Angulimala, those of you who know Buddhism, knows that he was the archetypal murderer, the serial killer at the time of the Buddha, wanting to kill the Buddha himself. He told the Buddha, stop. And the Buddha stopped and said, it's you, Angulimala, who have not stopped. You have not stopped your anger, your stupidity, your blame, your judgment, your putrid righteousness to think that murdering is an act of decency. It is not sport. Stop, Angulimala. And Angulimala had the parami, the force of purity, that heard that invocation at his heart's level, and he stopped, became an arhat. Stop Ming Online, other generals. Stop your Angulimala behavior as a military terrorist group. Very simple. Put Ming Online under house arrest, get on national TV and say you had an act of Angulimala conscience. You came to your senses. You came to your hiri. You came to your otapa. You came to your decency in respect to your family, your wife, your children, your nation, and your honor of General Aung San, the founder of the very army that now is a terrorist group. Point 2. Jail him now. Get on national TV. Call off the war on the people. Point 3. The women in Burma, in the civil disobedience movement, have taken the forefront of the action. They're being persecuted, killed, raped, tortured, imprisoned, and the women are not backing down. How cool is that? Women in Burma, you owe it to each other in a matriarchal society. I'm speaking now as third point of action. The women, the wives, the partners, the lovers of the military, the wives of the terrorist group, MAH-SAC, the wives of Ming Online, the wives of the generals. May this video be shared with you. May you hear what the world is thinking of you. You have it in your mind to resurrect your own relationship to Dhamma, to conscience, to Daw Aung San Suu Kyi, to decency, to dignity, to your family. Your children, your friends and relatives will never walk safe again. You are complicit with crimes against humanity. You will end up in the criminal court, wife, lover, girlfriend, sister, daughter. Women in the military, women in the police force, wives of the men in the military, wives of men in the police force. STOP, stop your Angulimala collusion. Defect immediately. Me or it's divorce. Immediate or I'm gone. Unequivocal black and white demand. Wives, where are you? Women in the military, do not feed your men and your husbands. Turn over their plates like the monks do and refuse to take food from terrorists. You married in good faith, and it turns out through blind obedience and so many other factors, which I will not get into at this moment, but you know, women, in your heart, you have given birth to life. Those of you who have given birth know the importance of breastfeeding. What your man is doing is cutting off the breasts of your country and saying, I dare you want freedom. I dare you want the nutrient of democracy. I dare you want dignity. Cease your relationship to evil. End of story. Point 3, divorce now. Demand stop or I'm gone. With that, point 4, 2 points with number 4. The military itself, you're no longer in uniform. You're wearing a uniform, but it's bogus. You are now a designated expression of MAH-SAC, a terrorist group. You have conscience, you have hiri, you have otapa, you have dignity, you have reverence. You've probably been a tila shin if you're a woman, and you've probably been a koyin at some point, a young monk in a monastery or a yekta in Burma as a man before you were in the military. Or maybe after you hope you retire or leave the military or the police, you hope to go to a monastery. Well, let me say this to you. Point 4, defect. Many of your policemen brothers are leaving the terrorist group and saying, in good conscience, we cannot continue to take orders to kill our girls and boys. You're killing the friends of your children. You're probably even willing to kill your own family based upon this blind obedience psychologically to totalitarian evil. You are complicit with your own denied Angulimala. Stop. Defect. One person leads to 10 people. The next thing you know, half the police force of Yangon and Mandalay defect. That will send a ripple all the way through the ranks of the military and the police, to those jet fighter pilots, to those people commanding the tanks and the trucks and the gulags, to those people willing to brutalize medics and doctors. And all of a sudden, a general up in Naypyidaw is going to say, Ming Online, it's been nice knowing you, but you and your family are under house arrest, just like Daw Suu was. We're releasing her, and we're going to redeem the country in the eyes of our own conscience and in the world. Step by step, act. Point 4, defect police, defect military. And to the civil servants around the world, foreign missions, ambassadors, people who worked and work at Myanmar embassies, Burma embassies in the 19 countries around the world. You've been told to cease your activities and to return to Myanmar. Join the civil disobedience movement and say, stop, no, I refuse to participate in Angulimala consciousness. That's all you're doing. I refuse to participate in evil. Defy the order to blemish your life, your present life, and your future life in an apayaloka. I am not going to hell for you, Ming Online. Get it. You're a Buddhist. You understand that. Cause and effect. Kamma, vipaka. Talk to a sayadaw about that if you need help. All foreign missions, all ambassadors, stop, cease. And everywhere there's a foreign mission, may the leaders of that country gather and tell those people in those missions, you are safe, you are protected, we will fund you, we will provide medical support for you, we'll provide food for you, practical behavior. Have the moral courage, have the empowered sila, engage your depth and conviction in democracy. Throw your 3 fingers up. Demand the release of Daw Aung San Suu Kyi and the president, U Win Myint, and the other 1,200 people disposed, incarcerated, tortured, humiliated by Ming Online. Point 4. Point 5. Senior sayadaws and senior sayalis or tilashins, the senior monks of Burma and the senior nuns of Myanmar. Point 5, action point 5.5. You hold, I would say, the Dhamma dignity, not just within your own population of Buddhists, but Buddhists worldwide have revered the Dhamma from Burma from time immemorial. You have preserved the sanctity of these ancient teachings known and contained in the Tipitaka. I've been to Mandalay and have seen back in the 1800s the 323 marble slabs in which the Tipitaka was carved front and back to preserve in that day these timeless teachings. U Nu in the 50s convened the 6th Buddhist Council. Senior sayadaws, senior nuns, there will be no 7th Council unless you act to preserve Dhamma in action. Modernize, in all humility, modernize your minds. Democracy and freedom is inclusive to all life. Know that the Dhamma and politics are inseparable, equal to the oxygen of freedom, is neither Buddhist or Hindu or Jew or atheist. Oxygen is liberated from theology. Dhamma is liberated from theology. Monasticism, bhikkhu, bhikkhuni, is liberated from lay life. It is a cognitive, resonant truth apparatus to bring peace to civilization. Act, sayadaws, act, tilashins. Be creative. Hold in your mind's eye, if I can humbly say, 3 fingers high on the arch of the monasteries in the yektas all throughout the country. How cool it would be even to paint in pink or red or yellow, 3 fingers on your bowls as you walk the villages, quietly keeping alive the ancient tradition of seeking alms round to continue your journey of awakening. Show solidarity with the people. Refuse to participate in the machinations of terrorism in your country. Point 6. Businesses inside Myanmar and businesses outside Burma. Simple, as in South Africa. Stop participating, stop colluding, stop investing in terrorism, murder, persecution, rape, denigration. End of story. It's a simple thing. Stop all financial transactions into Myanmar. Divest immediately of all support financially and humanly that does business with the Thamada, the generals, the terrorist group, the police, or anyone associated, which is clearly designated if you look online, who makes money in collusion with MAH-SAC, the terrorist group in Burma, the military. Divest, cease your participation, especially the big players. Shame on you, Chevron. Shame on you, Total Oil Company. Shame on you, every alcohol manufacturer that does business in Burma, every cigarette company, every cola drink, Red Bull, whatever it may be. May this video be found in your inbox and you understand the importance of supporting freedom and democracy and peace and extricate yourself from collusion with terrorism in Burma. Stop businesses immediately. Stop finances. Everyone in Burma is stopping work. A 10-day mourning period going into effect very shortly to mourn the murder and the assassination of the girls and boys over the last 33 days. Ongoing to the murder is the tyranny. I can't even describe, it's not fair to talk about tyranny and terror, except that it's horrible, the stress and the anxiety of that. MAH-SAC is terrorizing 54 million people right now. It's an occupied terrorist organization of a country. Cease your collusion businesses. Point 6. Point 7. MAH-SAC, the military turned terrorist group, is only who they are based upon bang bang, gun gun, shoot shoot, threat threat, bullets bullets, bayonets, sniper attacks and rifles, airplanes and jets, petroleum to keep all of that running, maintenance of all of that 500,000 person terrorist organization. China Xi Jinping, shame on you, Mr. Evil Dictator, supplying weapons to a terrorist group. Your behavior in Tibet today with the Uyghurs in your own country, your persecution of the democratic uprising and sovereignty of Hong Kong. Shame on you, President Biden, for colluding with a genocidal dictator, Xi Jinping in China, supplying the terrorist group in Burma today with guns and ammunition. Shame on you, Putin. What is the justification for your evil? Money, profit, delusion? You are Angulimala consciousness. China, Russia, Ukraine, Turkey, and I understand Israel, through underground arms suppliers, provides weapons for the terrorist group in Myanmar. Stop your support of terrorism now. Every leader, every diplomat, every ambassador, every secretary of state, every human being in the United Nations that cares about the sanctity of democracy and freedom and the preservation of human life must immediately cut every form of support and to isolate the arms dealers, both above board and underground, and cut off the ammunition, the weapons, and say no to Angulimala in Naypyidaw. We refuse to give you any more weapons to kill your people. The only enemy you have is yourself. No one's attacking you. You're attacking your own people. No wonder there's 20, 30 ethnic groups that are armed equally, because you're a terrorist group. Stop the killing. Stop supporting that which does the killing. Point 8 of the 10. I've said this repeatedly, and I want to say this very clearly. There are those news outlets, both in Myanmar and around the world, and those journalists that are saying, don't waste your time thinking that the West will ever come to support you. I find that personally really rude and undermining of the possibility of support coming in many ways. How do you know? In World War II, if you study history, America was very slow on the draw. A lot of countries were very slow on the draw, seeing all those books burned on the streets of Berlin. Very slowly did we begin to act and begin to see, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, goes from small case to larger case to an undeniable elephant in the room of global consciousness. Do not underestimate those of us on the outer world and those people in power to all of a sudden begin to see, guess what? World War III may very well happen on the shores, on the land of blessed Myanmar, and we are going to prevent it. We went there. England went there in World War II to stop the fascist consciousness out of Japan. There are leaders all over the world right now who want to understand the role of noble, wise, Ashoka-driven leadership. Put out the problem. Ashoka acted. He sent arms as a Buddhist to those frontiers and quelled those terrorists. America, the G7, Canada, Australia, Japan, don't count them out. It may very well be that they're slow to act. But my point number 8, there's an intermediary step by my own president. The attack aircraft group, right now floating around in the South China Sea with 64 F-18 Hornet jets on it, with thousands of military personnel, take that aircraft group attack through the Singapore Strait and into the Andaman Sea, park it, get creative, paint 3 fingers on the flight deck. Let the world know, let the people of Myanmar know, we are here in solidarity to you. We're not going to just write text and send statements and press releases on our White House Gov website. We're going to show up and provide money, funds, provide medical support, provide military consciousness at your doorstep. You continue to terrorize the people of your country, and we are here to intervene. Okay? President Biden, may you hear this. Number 9, and this is number 1, but they're all interwoven in this 10-point action plan that I'm proposing. Daw Aung San Suu Kyi. Yes, I'm her friend. Yes, we are sisters and brothers in the Dhamma. We both share the same meditation teacher and Dhamma teacher. Yes, I spent a lot of time with this woman and her husband and her children and her colleagues and her friends and her allies. Free Daw Aung San Suu Kyi. The world should scream at the top of their lungs, free Daw Aung San Suu Kyi. Free her now. MAH-SAC is clearly setting the ground for what looks to be life in prison. Unacceptable. Don't let the fog of tyranny, terrorism, and COVID prevent the importance of this point number 9. Free Daw Aung San Suu Kyi. Imagine if she were speaking right now, what she would be advocating for how to integrate nonviolent civil disobedience into the mindset of dictatorship in her own country, just as she did in 88 and 89 before she was arrested and detained. She walked straight into the line of soldiers aimed to kill her. Kill me first, told her comrades to walk to the side. Kill me first. Free Daw Aung San Suu Kyi. Free the President Win Myint. Free U Win Taint. Free the 1,200 people detained. Free the people. Point 10. In light of what is happening, the brutality isn't the word. Grotesque, perverse expressions of terrorism right now coming out of Naypyidaw by Ming Online, the Osama bin Laden of his Taliban or his Khmer Rouge, his Boko Haram, his ISIS, his ISIL, formerly known as the military, but it's no longer a military. They're just wearing uniforms. They're a terrorist group. He must be immediately designated legally, worldwide. The illegitimacy of what he is doing. Label it what it is. It's not a military coup. They've been in control for decades. It's been Psy war. Yet again, another free and unthinkably unfair election done as a ploy to extract, just as it was done in 1990 and on throughout the eras, just as it was done in 2020. Let everyone vote. Let us believe that we're ushering in democracy. And now that we know who you are, imprison, persecute, and terrorize them. That is not a military, that's a terrorist organization. That is terror in action, calculated psychological behavior. MAH-SAC is not a military coup. MAH-SAC is a terrorist group, and they should be labeled as such. MAH, Ming Online. He is not a senior general. Ming Online is Osama bin Laden. He's a Pol Pot. He's a bin Laden. State Administration Council, SAC, MAH-SAC. Designate that acronym as a terrorist group worldwide in the United Nations, in all civilized countries worldwide. May the good people of the world take serious note of these 10 immediate actions and apply them directly in support of the democracy, the civil disobedience movement of Burma at this moment. May the murdering and the persecution stop. Arrest Tan Shui, your man Ming Online. Put him under house arrest. Generals in Naypyidaw, an upper echelon coup. Put him under house arrest. Get on national TV and save your family's life. The criminal court in The Hague is not going anywhere. And take a look at what happened to the generals in Serbia and in Bosnia. And that is your destiny if you do not act immediately. So from my heart to yours, we stand in solidarity to you, people of Burma. We are awed by your courage, your conscience, your caring. And do not underestimate the possibility that the world is not only watching, they're feeling. I want to close with this point. My Dhamma teacher in Burma, Sayadaw U Pandita and Mahasi Sayadaw, just amazing human beings among a lot of girls and boys in that country, and men and women. When I met Sayadaw U Pandita after Mahasi Sayadaw passed away, he told me very directly, the most important thing in your life is to know your own mind. To know your own mind. That's the essence of Dhamma. It's like so direct, that meme, to know your own mind. He told me, Agasara, look around the world. Everything that we see on this planet, genocide, rape, injustice, assassinations, murder, theft, robberies, all evil. From the human heart. As Dostoevsky said, beauty is mysterious as well as terrible. God and the devil, ignorance and wisdom are fighting there in the battlefield of the human heart. To know your mind is the most important task of your life. I learned that from the people in Myanmar. It all comes from consciousness. And if you look carefully at the news, beyond the labels and the statistics, it's all about men in uniform right now who have lost a relationship to the machinations of their own consciousness, and they're mistaking moha, evil, for righteousness and goodness, and they're programming and demanding obedience among their fellow terrorists. This is good, this is decent, this is Dhamma, and it's adhamma. They've mistaken evil for goodness. That's why it's an epic archetypal battle of human consciousness there, and the world needs to support it. To know your own mind is the most important task of your life. What's motivating what you do? And in Burma today, I have never seen such an expression of moral courage. No matter what comes at them, assassinations, jets, rape, persecution, terror, the women and the men are saying, no, it's okay. We're going to keep going at you. We're not going to live under your tyranny. We're not going to live under your delusion. We want the sanctity of all ethnicities. We want the sanctity of all religions in our country to rise up in unity and solidarity. We want to thrive in freedom and democracy. Boys and girls in Myanmar, you're not the latest birth of democracy in the world. You're the most radiant expression of spirit and Dhamma in action the world has ever seen. And rise up, we're with you. 10 points, may this video spread worldwide, and may it land into the mind of Aung Hlaing and ambassadors and presidents and prime ministers worldwide. Take action now, please, on behalf of democracy and freedom in Burma. From my heart to yours, thank you.